Call meeting to order with DPW. We want to try to keep moving things along since there is an 11 o'clock meeting. Shouldn't be a problem, but we've said that before. Is there a motion to accept the minutes of September 29th? Moved by John, second by Dave. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
So we sent out the auction list for carpool and for county machine. Can we declare those surplus so we can sell them?
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
In the 2022, this year's budget, there is for carpool. There is $27,767.59 left in the equipment line. Where's Ryan?
Ryan isn't here yet. With the
Oh my
answer.
gosh. Can we skip to the next one?
Let's skip it and go.
Sorry. I have one part of that, he has some of it.
I can probably help with that if you need to. So forth.
Want to try it? All right, so we have that money left over in carpool. There is a pickup truck in buildings and grounds in the budget for next year that we would really like to get ordered this year if possible. So we're thinking of hopefully getting approval to use that money towards a pickup. And the other money is coming from somewhere else.
So what was discussed was taking the $64,000 purchase out of the 23 budget. And in 2022, there's a interfund transfer from carpool to general fund for the local share of the DSS and ADRC cars. In 2023 and some of the years before, the local share was funded out of general. So what Brian had proposed, and he alluded to this in his budget message, was getting rid of the interfund transfer from carpool to general. That money plus the 27 would give her enough to order the buildings and grounds truck in 2022. So general fund would fund the local share of DSS and ADRC cars instead of carpool, like it had in the past, like it's going to next year. So there would be a budget amendment to move the money that would have gone to general into the equipment line. That $64,000 truck will be bought in 2022, removed from the 2023 budget.
That's fine.
It's $64,000 next year by using.
Okay, got a motion, a second to purchase a truck. Go for a truck in this year. Is there any more discussion?
Send the budget amendment to finance.
Or moving it to finance,
The
right?
budget amendment part of it is.
Yes, okay. Right, and the budget amendment to finance. All in favor?
Aye.
That's the vehicle. and that. Did we
Well,
have a
before-
quote on it?
Well, before Brian gets here, should we do a vote on diesel or electric? Or gas? I guess that's it.
I figured that's what you were waiting for. It was gonna be an electric truck.
We do have a quote, we just have one quote, so we want permission to go out to bid, right? So it's timely that we can do this because this quote that we have is for $54,303. I think that doesn't include the spreader, but it does include the plow. That
That's
is
just
not,
regular gas.
It's regular gas on that.
yes, that's gas. If it's a diesel, it's about 7,000 more. But this, we'll do all our homework and get all the diesel prices, or we'll put the bid out for everything. But this one is actually a 2023 leftover, so we may have trouble getting a vehicle. So it's good that we can try. So thanks.
That truck's been used for building ground.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. Any more questions? So the next up is we've been approached by BOCES to have an unpaid intern work in one of our highway barns down in Jackson. We usually have them work in the shop, but this one is heavy equipment. So they've asked if he could do that As per the policy, we got all of the information. He's in heavy equipment from BOCES. His name is Zach Tolman. It's for 10 weeks and from 11:15 to 2:30.
His dad works on that shop, right?
What's that?
His dad works on that shop. too.
Yes, yep. So, is it okay if we do an internship?
Your motion,
Motion.
Second.
motion the second, any discussion on it? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Okay.
And then I just
Oh,
wanted,
did I miss the question?
Well, two things. Number one, it's an unpaid internship. Okay. Secondly, did we need a motion to bid that truck?
Shouldn't the committee approve going out the bid?
So we approved buying it, is that the same as going out to bid, or do we want to go out to bid too? I mean,
better
do
make it
we
official.
make it official?
Motion to go out.
Second.
Okay, second. I was thinking that too, but all in favor?
What's the difference between going out to bid and using state contract? I thought state contract, you don't go out to bid. And
Well-
so when you said it that way, I thought you had this on state contract. But if you don't, then you have to go out to bid, right?
There's no never a harm in bidding, even if it's on state contract. You can sometimes do better.
So, but what we thought we were doing was state contract, and now we're going out to bid, is that what, or did we
No, this-
totally overlook the whole picture? And
This was just,
Bob brought it up.
Dan, this was just a bid that had been quoted.
Yeah, well, this was just a quote where we were trying to get a rough idea of how much it's gonna cost.
So we don't have a locked in number anyway.
Nope.
Okay.
It's just kind of a rough idea of
Thank
what we got in today's dollars. Tomorrow's dollars might be totally different.
If you got a big gas and diesel.
And then the next stuff is just kind of update stuff. Sandgate is still using the Army truck to do their FEMA stuff, but they thanked us for this opportunity, so they're still doing that. I kept asking Warren County for the new snow and ice agreement, but Dana Half's not here.
No, he's not gonna be.
Well, anyway, I just want to let you all know that last year's contract was for 5 years, so I don't have to keep bugging them for contract for that. And then I just wanted to tell you that we're starting our snowplow education with the grade schools throughout the county that participate with us. Thanks to Bill for helping us. And that. That's all I got.
Question. Resolution last year authorizing the agreement with Warren County talks about a term January 1st of 2022 through December 31st of 22. I don't see a 5.
Well, that's why, I guess that's kind of why I'm bringing it, because when they told me they didn't have it, he went back and found that it is for, so that resolution needs to be changed? Or we need to make a new resolution?
I'd say.
Take your resolution for that.
Okay, so it says, okay, so it says that the agreement to be effective January 1st, 2021 until December 31st, 2021, and shall renew on an annual basis for a period of 5 years, unless there's an increase or decrease in rates in that. So we left that part out about renew on an annual basis.
That's 6-year contract or 5-year?
It says 5.
1 year plus a 5-year renewal. 6, or
Unless there's the unless in there, rates change.
It's written by Warren.
And I put some bullets in some.
Might be sweeter on.
One county map. One county map.
yeah. Live, I won't say anything.
I know it's weird. This is 20. want us to review it and send it to finance for something?
Deb, if that is what I thought I heard you said, unless the rates change or.
Yep.
Have you reviewed that and are those good rates now with everything the way that has changed? This is the
At
time.
risk of letting our current towns who plow for us know how much they're paying, almost double.
Yeah. Where's Sue? She's not here with me. There you go. You're talking about getting paid double by Warren County than what we get paid for doing our roads. Just in case you missed that.
Well, that's a whole other story.
We might need to catch up. Yes, we might.
I thought
See,
you
you
didn't
thought
have-
we weren't paying attention.
I thought you didn't have anybody left to plow, Sue.
I do.
I think we're getting it. It was a little touch and go there for a while.
You go through CDL? You're in 5 years.
No, you don't want me to.
That's it.
Okay. So do we need to make a new resolution, Deb?
I'd say so, yeah.
Motion to Dave
Second.
and Cassie, any more discussion?
How long are you
Yeah,
gonna go
it's
through
an annual
everybody?
The annual
Is
report.
that-
Yeah, well.
If we're doing it, let's clean it up and make it, so it's definitely 1 year, that if that's what you're doing.
That's what we said.
You want to renew on 1 year?
Well, that's what we've been doing, right? And secondly, those rates we want to look at, because if we agreed to those 2 years ago and where we are now, I don't care what kind of a deal it seems like. I mean, we want to keep an eye on that. Maybe we ought to consider looking at it differently.
Yeah, because if you get more money from them, you can pay more money to us.
You know, I mean, realistically, if we come up with those rates 2 years ago on some basis. And I mean, we gotta forget the towns, that's another whole issue, and I don't think that should be used in determining this. And I definitely think that you need to be looking at your deal.
This will inform the town.
Well, there's only two, Sue and I, there's
So-
only two.
Oh, we got-
Oh, you got one too?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
Okay,
Cat's out of the bag.
So this motion is for a 1 year so that we look at it again next year. Is that-
Yes.
right? Just to make sure.
All right.
That's clear. All right.
So
all
we
in-
just do a resolution like we did last year.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'll bring it next year. Same
Do
contract.
they have, to Warren County have to agree to it?
It's their contract. They send it to us, so we have to agree to it.
So we have a copy of their signature.
Well, I'll find it.
So how does that work? We got a 5-year contract signed and sealed. And we're changing by resolution that contract?
Well, it says something about the increase and decrease. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
So I believe if we look at it every year, do we have the option then to complain about the rate?
If there's an increase or a decrease, otherwise you're just basically reaffirming the contract.
You got that, John, or you want more?
Am I the only one that doesn't understand this?
It's a 5-year contract with an annual renewal.
Right.
It's written by the
Oh,
Borough Town.
Okay.
So doesn't that mean I have to keep sending them back one every year?
Yes.
Because they don't send us one.
Any more
Keep that one,
discussion?
they'll keep paying.
All in favor?
Alright.
At the risk of dragging anything out, just Deb, remind me with this Sandgate thing, that's one of the Army trucks, obviously. We're gonna be getting rid of when we get new trucks down the road.
Yes.
They're very interested in buying it, but we don't show special favor to any towns or any other municipality. As we are getting better at replacing our trucks now, we've got them on a good schedule. We're gonna be turning off some pretty good trucks, and I don't know if the committee wants to look at some way to give the Washington County towns a leg up action, or whether you wanna just keep putting it out there and anybody that bids on them, bids on. That's just food for thought.
I agree with you as far as we used to do it, and I think Washington County should have an advantage, but I don't know how you can do it. That's what always seems to be the drawback. How do you do it fairly? Because when if two towns in Washington County want a good thing and want a truck, how do you pick which one gets it for what?
Highest bidder,
If you come up with a solution, I
highest
suppose.
bidder.
Right, and that's the only way you can do it. So I guess we're stuck with that rule, but
Should be 4 coming out a year.
Why are you stuck with that rule?
If there's 4 going in, there should be 4 coming out.
So
There won't be
feel
one
good.
truck coming out, there'll be 4.
Right. But there may be.
right, but by knowing you
More
one truck
demand.
that everybody wants, first what I'm saying.
Except for the 1 year you. only-
Al, is there a way to, okay, we're gonna send it to the towns first before we
But the board has to rock
decide
that vote.
that? I mean,
We've had this conversation several times over the years. One time there was a list and they just went down the list and there was, I don't remember what the numbers were. Something like, I think it was $5,000 a truck, but they ran a lot more miles on them. Then the conversation came up, we want to give towns a special time to bid on these trucks outside of them. I think if you look at that, question is that we are supporting our taxpayers and the residents by giving the ability to have people housed in those trucks before other people do also, so. And I think we should really seriously consider it, especially since we have so much lead time on the trucks and the cost of trucks going up.
It's my understanding that county's got 4 trucks coming in this fall that are going to ZWAX to get boxes, so there should be 4 coming out real soon, right?
Actually, we're gonna have 8 coming in. There's 4 from last year and 4 from this year. There should be 4 soon coming
It's
in,
very soon.
and then 4.
So if you're gonna make a decision, you better make it now, because Deb's gonna have 4 trucks to go out real soon. You should decide now, before the time comes, how you're gonna get rid of those 4 trucks.
Well, the ones that are coming out now are not they're not part of the rotation. I mean, they are in a way, but they're not,
They won't be the
They're
same.
the last of the,
they're like,
Irrelevant, you're doing a policy situation, it doesn't matter what the trucks are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Board should decide now.
Dave,
I would make a motion, we ask the Debbie and the attorneys come up with a policy and bring it to the board, next DPW meeting.
to allow the county, towns, municipalities to bid first before they go out on a broader.
They're glad you- Take it or take it.
I don't see how that you can do that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. More discussion? Questions?
Well, we'll wait to see what, maybe you can come up with a great idea. I can't see how you can
Well,
do it,
the motion is to have them put something together.
but, right, yeah.
So we need to empower them to be able to put that together.
Is there any, you have to declare surplus. If that's done, is there a policy regarding surplus inventory of any sort that has to be disposed of in a certain way? That's gonna be in conflict with this new policy? Is there an existing one? Is anybody aware of?
I don't remember there being a barrier, because we used to do.
Okay.
There's actually, there is an existing policy, but it's not, I don't think it's a barrier to this.
Any more questions? All in favor? Opposed? Very good.
The old policy was
Yeah,
down,
you,
county gave them money.
Written down?
yes.
Is it written down?
There's a long lead time for stainless steel beds.
I don't know that part, that part.
So there's a long lead time for stainless steel beds, so it's not gonna happen as quick as we want.
But the next 4 that they're gonna get the boxes are, because we're in 5th. And there's 4 county trucks ahead of us, they're the next 4 that's gonna get them, so when they do come in, they're gonna come out quick.
Yeah.
Any more questions for Deb before she runs the quarter mile back up here?
Deb, our favorite topic is the Church Street Bridge. Is it considered finished?
It's
No.
not,
What's left to do there?
We got paint it, the stripes, we got to stripe it, the lines, the traffic lines. And there's a punch list of stuff that needs to be repaired.
Will Malloy have that done this fall?
We're hoping so.
Okay, the only reason I ask is because there's 2 parcels in a house there And if the bridge is done, there's no sense the county supporting those. They should go ahead, dispose of those, or at least sell that house and get a few shekels for it. I don't know, not worth much, but I would have to go to government ops and start that program. I didn't want to do that until you're ready to say that that project is pretty much done. Should we get that started?
He's so sad about it.
Yeah. So that's gonna be over with finally.
I don't see any harm in starting it. It's not gonna impact the completion of the project.
All right, because we might as well get something for it. Do you want to keep the parking lot and the little parcel as in case and ever in the future you need to use those to access the north side of the bridge?
I can relook at those. I know we've had this discussion years ago, but I'll check into that.
You want to keep access with wherever we dispose of it, that the county could always use that parcel that's to get to the bridge if need be, right?
Yep.
But the house
But the
itself,
house itself is not.
get rid of it. Okay.
Hopefully we get it painted soon so we can have ribbon.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody can answer this question, maybe Matt Jones could. It's a presentation, government ops about the engineering studies for the highway bars. There was discussion on diesel and gas and whether to keep the gas tank as big, so, and we kind of cut that up, said we'll have to discuss it. And and DPW work those details out. How much time have we got before that decision will have to be made? Have we got months? Have we got 1 month, 6 months? I mean, we don't want to keep putting things off that are going to screw up the engineering.
Were they gonna move the gas?
Well, there was talk of doing away with the gas tank. Brian just pulled in. So Brian, the point is, we need to discuss that sometime. And how much time have we got? I know today you got time restraints, but should that be something to put on the agenda for next month? Or there's no rush, we got 6 months or a year.
Well, I'm sure that the sooner the better. I'm sure Matt would agree.
So then could it be put on next month?
Yep.
So that we can iron that out and move forward. And any other questions that were left lingering from that engineering presentation on decisions that have been made by Public Works? I don't know, there might have been more.
There was another decision?
I don't know, I'm just saying I'd have to review it.
Yeah, can you get us how many actual gallons of gas go through there in a year? You know, because it's probably very minimal compared to diesel fuel. Seems like an awful expensive system to add.
But it's a replacement, no movement, just upgrade the system to where it currently stands. And the question is, do we need to have gasoline on the site?
Well, I did talk to Matt a little bit about it yesterday, and there was some thoughts, and I don't know if this was discussed in that other meeting, that maybe there would be gas in the top of the county, the middle of the county, and the bottom of the county. This would be a good place for the middle of the county.
Fort Edward.
Well, Fort Edward could be. Fort Edward is kind of an island on its own. We could never.
So you think we
ever
do or don't need it at Middle Falls?
At Middle Falls? I thought we were talking about Fort Edward.
Middle Falls.
Oh, yeah, we do. need them.
We do?
Yep, that would be the lower.
It wouldn't be easier
Or
to have,
Jackson.
let's say Wex cards, because don't you have 2 or 3 gas stations in Greenwich that are open most all night?
No, yeah, I was just saying that we could either get rid of gas altogether, we could keep gas everywhere, or we could have 3 or 4 different spots for gas throughout the county. And Middle Falls would be in the south of the county, so.
Yeah, no, I mentioned it last time when we were discussing this. I think we need to bring public safety into the realm of this, because they're ones responsible for catastrophe disasters and those kind of things. And to take away something that have to be staged for patrolling. In case, I know we have places that are open, but what happens if everyone's can't get there? Can't get the fuel pump. So I think we need to, this is a far reaching thing rather than just saying that, you know, we can go use Cumberland Farms or Stewart's or Shopping Stop, whatever the case may be. So it goes beyond.
Yep.
was just saying that we should do an analysis to see if it is cheaper. It probably is cheaper, but let's make sure. Let's find out the number of gallons used, what the price is, what the cost upgrade is. Should be fairly simple calculation.
Anybody else? Anything for that? She's running out of place to put notes, so you better run.
Here, Debbie, you go.
Thank you.
Hi.
Morning, committee.
Morning, you have 30 minutes.
I have 30 minutes. Okay.
Aim for 15.
So I have approximately 5 budget amendments. That I brought to the section of our board festivals last month. Starting number 1, budget. Allocate funds for auto fuel. 20 is our collection sub-department. Looking to allocate funds from the fund balance, GB 599 to 8120 in the amount of 9,500. These dollar amounts will bring us to first.
Moved by Dave. Second again. Any discussion? All in favor?
Budget amendments to allocate funds for auto fuel 8131. That sub-department 8131 is compost. Seeking to allocate funds from the fund balance to the 8131. About $4,000. Yeah, bring the balance to 1230. End of the year.
Moved by Cassie. Discussion?
I think the committee might just throw those two together as one resolution. Just
For the auto fuel.
when you see the finance, probably just be one review.
Okay, so it'll be an amendment to the previous resolution. Is that what you said, Cassie?
Yep.
That's what you seconded.
I did.
All in favor? Opposed? Okay.
Thank you, committee. Third budget amendment is to allocate funds from our OT line 20, which again is our collections, to our compost line of 8131. These funds are in the amount of $4,000. The reason, a little background in this is probably midway through the year, you can call it a clerical error. Looking at time charged in our sub-departments through our chrono system that the county uses. Any time charged, let's say with rounds, use rounds for example. We always have weekend rounds, 1 hour is at compost, 3 hours are at the treatment plant. In this case, the clerical error was being charged under operations, right, where it should have been charged under compost. So that's why we're seeing the negative to bring us to balance by 1231. So that ask is in the amount of $4,000 for this budget.
Motion. Moved by Tim, second by Cassie. Question then? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed?
Fourth budget amendment is to allocate funds under regular earnings, again, under compost 8131. Little background, this is due to the employee that had resigned first of the year, and then there was a period of time he was absent, so 3 to 6 months into that period where it picked up. Additional fringe and admin benefits were needed. So we're seeking to allocate funds to balance that out under our fund balance to the 8130 line, about 15,000.
Moved by Cassie, by Tim. Dave, you have a question? No.
And just like the one before, if there's no objection from the committee, since they're both personal services, I'd like to these two in resolutions.
I agree.
Agree.
I looked at that, but I didn't know because one was OT and one was regular pay. I do that.
Yeah, fun to unsafe.
Yeah.
Thank you, committee. Thank you.
All
Alan.
in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
With the budget amendments to allocate funds for the consulting services for our permit, our speedies, our state pollution discharge elimination permit for operations in the amount of $27,500. So we'll be utilizing fund balance for professional services to implement that permit.
Is that informing next year's budget?
Yes, that would be.
What did you say, Bill?
I just asked him if it was informing next year's budget, so it's not next year.
Yes.
Was that a shortfall or just wasn't in the budget?
Was not. Thank you. And I have quarter reporting that I have to meet with regulatory agency end of January, and the March 31st is 2 reporting periods that I have to. And these services allow me to do that.
So this will be an every year thing, will it?
No, what I'll do, this is setting a base for me to continue without the assistance of the professional services. So I'll add to it, I'll build to this program.
Okay, so
It helps me. Right.
Motion,
Second.
second. Any more questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, thank you.
All done?
Chairman, I have one more.
Yep.
We had talked about it, but I got busy with the auction and didn't catch up with them yesterday.
Mhm.
We have a long-term control plan capital project. And when we set up what we're calling phase 3, we had itemized each of the projects as its own line item. Jason and I have discovered that with the EPC contract, where you have somebody that monitors the whole program for you, it is cumbersome to try to have anybody, whether it's the engineer or his staff, try to ascertain through the documentation how many hours on each program. So what we'd like to do is take each of the line items that were created in that capital project and just combine them into the EPC contract and track the contract budget in total. So it'd be a budget amendment to finance where there's no clean way to demarc out of the EPC contract how much was for each of the sub little programs going on underneath it. So we just want to kind of combine them into one EPC line and track the contract that way.
Is there a motion?
Finance.
Finance, second. Dave. Discussion, questions on this? All in favor? Opposed? Is there anything else come before the committee? We have time to gossip before the meeting then. I'll adjourn the meeting.